How not to get to your fitness goals in 2023. Hi everyone, Dan back here from the Geek Physique for another video. Before we get into things, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell. Make your goals vague. Obviously, you need something specific. If you just want to get in shape, without something specific, how do you know you're getting in shape? And that's where, do you want to lose fat? Or do you want to build muscle comes in? Or maybe it's something performance-based. If you want to increase your bench press, then that's more specific than getting in shape, right? So figure out what it is you actually want. If you've got some fluff around your midsection, then lose some fat. If you feel super skinny, then build some muscle. If you've been training for a while and your bench press is something you'd like to see increase, then that's something you want to shoot for, right? Or maybe you want to get your first pull-up. Again, you want something specific to shoot for, because then how do you know you're going to get in shape if it's super vague? Make them unmeasurable. This ties back into the first point, right? Oftentimes people will tell me they want to get in shape and they'll just kind of go to the gym and do a bit of machines and go to classes. And it's like, how do you know you're actually moving forward if you're not measuring anything? Obviously, the scale is something people look at more than anything, but the scale only tells you one story. And if your goal is to lose fat and build muscle, then the scale's probably not the best tool you can use to measure your goal. You might want to use something like inches or your clothes sizes to determine that, right? So if your waist is getting smaller, your muscles are getting bigger, you know you're moving forward towards your goal. And the general goal being lose fat, build muscle, but the more specific goal is I want to lose X inches on my waist and gain X inches on my muscles, right? And similarly with the performance goal example I gave, first, to do with your bench press, how much would you like to increase your bench press by? Maybe it's 10 kilos, 20 kilos, whatever it is. Next, make them unachievable. Tying back into the last point, you didn't put on all the weight you want to lose overnight. So why would you expect to lose it overnight? And you've probably heard that plenty of times, but it goes the same for building muscle. You can't expect to do it overnight. And if you do push to lose weight, to put on muscle too quickly, then you're probably going to just put on a bunch of fat. I know, and anybody watching this probably knows, if they've done a bulk before, if you push it too quick, you are just going to put on a bunch of fat that you then need to lose and cut for much longer when you then go to cut. So you actually want to make it achievable for yourself, and a range that I've found to be achievable for most people I've spoken to and have worked with is about 1 to 2 pounds of weight change per week. Measurements are a bit more person specific depending on your genetics and where you hold your fat or how quickly you can build muscle. But like I said, 1 to 2 pounds of weight change a week is achievable for nearly anyone. Next, make them unrealistic. This ties back into the last point, but once you've got a goal that you believe is achievable, you then need to scrutinize it a bit more and work out, is it actually based in reality? You've got that range of 1 to 2 pounds a week of weight change, but maybe 1 pound a week is more realistic for you because of your daily life, right? What about your current habits that you have? Maybe your habits are so bad that changing them is going to take longer than someone who's already going to the gym, Similarly with your budget, right? If you do want to go to the gym, that's something to consider with your financial situation or time constraints. Most of the guys we work with are super busy. They are working all the time. Some of them are doing night shifts, day shifts. Some of them have families, have businesses. So they don't have every day to be going to the gym. And frankly, they don't want to be. So you've got to factor that in as well, especially if you've got a performance-based goal, right? And just to add on to the achievable and unrealistic points, if you've got a performance-based goal like I want to add 10 kg to my bench press, then for someone who's relatively untrained, adding about 2.5 kg a week or every 2 weeks is definitely realistic. Whereas if your training age is a lot higher, you've actually been training fairly optimally for a while, you're going to have to give yourself a bit more time to do that, right? And that brings me on to my last point, which is don't make your goals time bound. Without a deadline, how do you expect to achieve your goal? Because you will probably end up dragging your heels if you have nothing to shoot for. And a deadline will actually help you shape the previous points I've made. So if you do make something specific, like lose fat, how much fat do you want to lose, which is the measurable point, but by what time? And then that will help you determine if it's achievable and then if it's realistic for you. Without a deadline, you really can't nail down the previous points properly. And another thing, some of you may know the name of this, it escapes me right now, but there's a name for something where if you give something a deadline, you usually fill that time to achieve that goal by that deadline. So if you make it longer, you'll take longer. If you make it shorter, you'll work out a way to make it shorter, right? Again, considering it's still realistic and achievable in the time you give yourself. But the point here is if you have a deadline to shoot for, it lights a fire under you, it motivates you to push forward, and it's something you should always be doing, is working out, okay, I want to do this, by what time? Okay, I want to lose fat by summer. How much fat can I lose by summer? I want to build muscle by summer. How much muscle can I realistically build by summer without gaining too much fat, etc. Same thing with the bench press example. Now I'm going to go through a bonus, which is make sure you do it with unsustainable methods. I see this all the time, and it's a common thing you've probably heard about, and maybe you've experienced yourself, but why don't you just cut out all the food you love, stop seeing your friends and family, because that's actually going to last, right? Of course it's not. It's completely wrong. What I advise for anyone is start small, or another way of putting it is start from the place where you're currently at, right? So what I mean by that is if you don't go to the gym at all, start going to the gym 2 to 3 times a week. I recommend a minimum of 2 times a week for anyone because that's definitely realistic for every single person I've ever spoken to about their fitness. If not 3 times a week if you can. Again, this includes people who work night shifts, people who have businesses, dads, all the examples I gave before of the guys we work with, they're all super busy and all of them are working out at least 3 times a week, if not more, okay? But to add to that, if you're eating everything under the sun and it's all crappy food, then work out what has the most bang for its buck, right? And what I mean by that is if you're getting loads of like nice coffees, let's say, for example, maybe instead of doing that, you get black coffee, right? So it's not like you're not having coffee anymore or getting a nice coffee from a shop, but you're just modifying it. Or instead of getting 3, you get 1, right? Or instead of having 5 biscuits, you have 1, right? Make small changes rather than going 0 to hero, burning yourself out and then quitting, which is what loads of people do. Or they actually do get to their goal, but because they've done it in such an unsustainable way, maybe they do make it by the deadline, right? They have achieved it and they're thinking, wow, I did that, I got to my goal by my holiday, whatever it is. But then when they come back or over the course of the holiday, because they did it in such an unsustainable and restrictive way, they just put all the weight back on that they lost and they just kind of go back to their own old habits once they come back. Goals are important, right? That's the main point of this video, but with goals, you should also have habits, and these intertwine because if you've got the right habits that fit your lifestyle, the goals will become inevitable. But without the goals, it doesn't really give you anything to shoot for. And the last point I'm going to make about this is a point about motivation and consistency. I don't really think about motivation because I'm not motivated really all the time. There'll be bouts where I am, like if I watch a motivational video or maybe I listen to a podcast or something like that, or I'm just feeling good. I wake up feeling really good and I'm looking forward to the gym, then I'm motivated. But a lot of the times, especially with my businesses, there's certain things I have to do, the grunt work I call it, where I don't ever feel like doing it. Most of the time I don't feel like doing it, but I just do it anyway because I have a goal to shoot for. And as I'm ticking off my to-do list, I know I'm moving forward to my goal, which actually releases a bit of dopamine. It releases a bit of positive emotion, like you get when you play for a video game, right? That's why you set a waypoint on the map. If you play video games, you set a point on the map you want to go to. As you're moving towards that goal, usually in the video game, it will have an amount of distance, like meters away from the waypoint, and you know you're moving forward towards it, which makes you want to keep going. If you don't know how long it's going to take you, and you don't know if you're moving forward towards it, then why would you keep going, right? It's kind of obvious, but a lot of people don't do this and they don't see the value in it. And just like you can have a negative spiral in your life, I did a video on this recently, you can also have a positive spiral. So once you have SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound, the opposite of the points I talked about in this video, and you figured out the habits that are sustainable for your lifestyle to achieve those goals, you will find that often the goals you set yourself, you might actually get them a lot quicker than you originally thought, because you build momentum. And maybe your fitness goals, achieving those, the discipline you cultivate, the consistency that you cultivate, also has a positive impact on something like your career. So you might find, oh, I want to get a better job this year. I want to lose weight this year. If you start setting yourself SMART goals, knocking them off, they're both going to positively impact each other. And before you know it, you're going to be leveling up in every aspect of your life. I'm just going to recap the points from a high level. If you don't want to get to your fitness goals in 2023, make them vague, make them unmeasurable, make them unachievable, unrealistic, don't make them time bound, and as a bonus, make sure you choose something unsustainable. I hope this video was helpful. I wish you all a happy new year and good luck with your goals. If you need help achieving your goals in under 3 hours a week, without strict diets and without motivation, then click the link in the description box to join our next free 7-day challenge, where we cover all of this stuff in under 10 minutes a day, going over food, training, and consistency, and we'll plug the gap and help you get to your goals. And there's probably going to be a video here or here, so click one of those to keep watching, and I'll see you in the next one.